Minister Fikile Mbalula, or otherwise known as Minister Sabawel, literally embarrassed himself on international TV as he had a sit-down interview with Stephen from the BBC. And this is what he said in the interview.
Loot shops and try and win some new possessions.
I have admitted from the onset that this attempted insurrection and what I characterize as anarchy, was it an insurrection? No. Was there an attempt for an insurrection? Yes. I have characterized that it exhibited opportunistic elements of criminality, exploiting the fact that the majority of our people and the youth in particular are unemployed, and as a result they got into the bandwagon of looting and looting and looting.
I don't know if you've had the opportunity to talk to your own defence minister, your cabinet colleague, because she briefed the Joint Standing Committee on Defence that there was, quote, not an insurrection or a coup. If it had been such a thing, she said, it would have had a face. And that's my point too. There is no face to this coup as far as I can tell.
There is a face. The elements of it will former president arrest. There will be chaos and anarchy in the country. It didn't happen.
It did happen. Of course it happened. We saw, hang on. Let us just look at the vulnerability, because you're the Minister of Transport. You know better than me that the disruption was massive. Some of your main highways were blocked. Durban Port was not able to function. One of your biggest oil refineries was shut down. The economists in your country reckon it's cost you, as far as I'm aware, of leading some sort of coup, insurrection, attempt to bring down the democratic government. And some might say that you and Mr. Ramaphosa are simply trying to divert attention from the parlous state of the economy, the desperation that your people feel, which was exhibited on the streets when so many people took the opportunity simply to loot shops and try and win some news. But surely you cannot say that without clear evidence. If there is no evidence, what credibility?
So as you can see from the video, he describes the unrest as a failed insurrection by plotters who had a field day, and he says the insurrection is the ultimate end of coup plotters. The grounds for them were not fertile because to have an insurrection, you've got to have a weakened state in the form of the police and soldiers to maintain law and order. On our part, the response to this was delayed with a couple of days, and that gave them a field day. But for all the days they had, the plotters, they couldn't have achieved that. So basically, that is what Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula has described what has been happening in South Africa, specifically the looting, the violence that has been happening in KZN and also in other parts of Gauteng and the country as well. And all I've got to say is wow. So if you listen to a video that I posted last week, I specifically explained why what was happening in South Africa could not have been called a coup. And the reason why it could not have been called a coup, and this is what Stephen says as well in the interview, is because it did not have a face. In order for something to be dubbed or to be called a coup, there has to be a plan, a legitimate plan in action for it to be called a coup. Basically, I stated that there were a number of reasons why what was happening in South Africa could not have been called a coup, and that was purely because the looting that was happening, the violence that was happening, the killings that were happening were not all combined under one reason or one specific force, but that they were happening due to various reasons. And this is what Stephen is trying to relay to our Minister of Transport, that you can't call what was happening in South Africa a coup just because you want to call it a coup. No, nobody was trying to get our president out of power last week. People were mainly looting because of unemployment. People were looting because of the lockdown, and people had many reasons why they were looting as well. Some were looting because they just wanted to loot and they saw an opportunity to loot. The violence happened because things escalated as a result of the looting, not because there was a plan in action to put a coup. And this is actually what's really embarrassing about South African politicians. And you know, for someone, a transport minister in South Africa, to go on basically television or live stream or whatever you want to call it and embarrass himself like that. That was so embarrassing. That was so, imagine getting schooled by someone who does not live in South Africa, someone who does not live in Africa, and therefore someone that does not know the political environment of South Africa and Africa. That is so embarrassing. That is literally the most embarrassing thing that I've seen in my life. But I mean, what can we expect from Minister Mbalula? Like, literally, what can we expect from our transport minister? He literally has not said anything of note, and I mean ever. There's a reason why he's called Minister Smanje Manje and Minister Antisabaweli. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was me bringing you up to speed on everything that has happened. I'm so sorry if I sounded a bit heated, but I am heated. Please do subscribe for more amazing comments, like, share. Please do all of those nice things. It really does help me out, and I'll see you in my next upload.